In this video, I'll show you how to take great zombie photos in this Halloween special.
Adorama TV presents Take and Make Great Photography with Gavin Hoey, where you'll learn how to take stunning photos and then polish them in post-production. Here's your host, Gavin Hoey.
Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV. Now today I've come out to Tully's Farm here in the heart of Sussex, and this is Shocktoberfest. It's the biggest Halloween festival around. This is the world record attempt to get the most number of zombies in one place. Let's go see what we can find to photograph. By the way, that's why I'm dressed like this. Okay, so when it comes to camera settings, let me talk about what I'm using here. I'm using my Canon 5D Mark II with my 24-105 lens. It is getting close to sunset now, so my exposure is going to be probably quite a high ISO and increasingly so as the evening progresses. And for a nice shallow depth of field, I'm likely to be working at f4 or whatever the biggest aperture number is I can dial in on my camera. So let's see if we can find some willing victims to photograph. You're not supposed to be a happy zombie. That's the way. Let's go grab a zombie over here. I've got to take a picture. Can I take you? You look amazing.
We've gone for buck teeth zombies. So.
Okay, look at me as well. Oh, that is just. Oh, I got to get another one then. Okay, here we go. Looking down at me. Oh yeah. And then we're going to come in really close. Oh, that is just freaking me out. Lovely. So as the sun's starting to set, I need to think about different lighting. So I'm going to do a bit of off-camera flash. I've got my Canon 580 EX2, my STE2 trigger, and I'm going to use a bit of light just to pop some light into the faces and hopefully give a slightly better look. That's the idea. Let's go find some faces. You come far to get here?
Nuneaton.
From Nuneaton?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a heck of a drive. You must obviously love being zombies.
Yeah, I come here every year.
Okay, let's get a quick little shot of you guys. I'm going to come rather close if that's all right. Hang on. I'm going to come right over here and we'll get to you in a minute. Cool stuff. And here we go. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Can we take a photo of you guys? You're looking pretty average Saturday night out, really, isn't it? Okay, guys, I'm going to come down low. Can you sort of crowd over the top of me?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Right, okay, so if you can all just come in. Oh, that's pretty good. And we need those zombie faces. Oh. Brilliant, guys, thank you very much. Have a good evening. Okay. So I managed to find a willing volunteer for my next victim. I think he'll do, won't he? So what we're going to do is we're going to get a picture of this guy here, but all I've got in this really dark environment is my flash gun. How do I cope with my flash gun? Because if I take a picture of this guy, watch what happens. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, that's the only thing scarier than that picture is his face. So what I'm going to do is try and make it more interesting, and what we've got is a beautiful white wall here, and I can use that white wall as a bounce reflector. So just swivel my flash 90 degrees to the side, bounce it off the wall, and we'll do a wonderful side lighting shot. Okay, guy, if you can just stand in front of me right there. That's brilliant. Okay, that's wonderful. Run again, here we go. We're going to come for a nice close-up and a wide shot. Oh. Wonderful. Fantastic, thank you very much indeed. And look at the difference in those shots. Now that is how you work quick. Oh goodness, what have we got here? These look kind of scary and weird. So, okay guys, let's bring you over here a little bit. Come down here. Come on, that's it. Oh. Well, this is testing the 5D Mark II's focusing. Oh yeah, there you go. That's the way. Fabulous. Oh, there you go. So amazing place to take photos and a wonderful atmosphere as well. Some very happy zombies, which is kind of a bit weird, but all part of the fun. Okay, so the next thing to do is to get these photos into Photoshop, and I'm going to pick my favorite photo and show you the edit on that, and I'm going to do that right now. To be honest, after an event like that, it's actually quite nice to come back and sit in front of the computer. So I'm here inside of Photoshop CS6, and this is the picture that we're going to create. This is the final image, and it started, of course, not with a final image, but with a rather not so exciting RAW file. However, it's got potential. The flash did its thing, lighting one side of the face, putting the other side in shadow, but with enough detail so I can still see it. I'm not so keen on the background, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. Let's make some general changes here first of all. So here in RAW, first thing I'm going to do, take the clarity, put it on maximum. This kind of photograph can definitely take lots of clarity. Now I'm going to take the vibrance and I'm going to increase the vibrance a little bit as well, just so we get some really good punchy colours in there. And I might even pull the colour temperature just a little bit to the cool side, just so that affects the skin tones and gives it a slightly more dead look rather than a warm skin tone look. Other things I can change here on the basic panel, well, I can put a bit more contrast in, and I can pull the shadows down just so we try and minimize that background a bit. Now that works pretty well, but I'm not so sure that the background is quite where it needs to be. So now I'm going to jump over to a different tool. I'm going to use the graduated filter, and on the graduated filter I'm going to take the exposure down about -3 stops. And I'm going to drag some little graduated filters in, across the background like that, across the background on this side as well. I think we can tighten that one up quite a bit, like that. And I think we can do a third one on his hair, but maybe with a little less exposure, just so we darken down the top like that. Okay, now, that looks pretty good, but there are a few areas that I want to work a little bit more accurately. And for more accurate work, I'm going to jump to the adjustment brush. And with the adjustment brush, all I'm going to do is just kind of darken a few areas with a couple of little clicks here and there, just like that. That may be a little bit heavy. That looks okay. And then I'm going to add another new brush, and I'm going to do the reverse, lightening a few areas on the left-hand side where it's gone a little bit kind of heavy and black. And we're just going to bring a little bit of something back there, but nothing too obvious. The eye on the left-hand side also looks a little bit in shadow, so all I'm going to do is to make a new brush. And on this one, I'm going to take the shadows and increase my shadow slider up to maximum. We'll use a smaller sized brush as well. Let's just scoot down and find the size. And we can just bring a little bit of the shadows out on the eyes, just so we can see deeper into the eyes. Now, last thing to do is just to check my histograms. So let's come out of the adjustment brush and back into the basic. I want to make sure I do have a black in there, particularly on that side, so that's fine. But my whites are looking a little bit out. There's not really a nice bright white in there. So I'm going to get my white slider here in basic and just bring that up, looking at the histogram and just watching for that first little spike to pop up there, just to show me that I do have some nice bright highlights, but nothing too heavily clipped. Right, so let's just open this image up. And we'll get back into Photoshop. And in Photoshop, there's a couple of things I can do here. I think the first one is going to be a bit of a crop, because now I've got it in Photoshop, I think it needs a little bit of a crop. I'm using the non-destructive crop inside of Photoshop CS6, so I can always change my mind, but I think that works better. Also, I'm not so keen on this little patch of highlight here in the background, so I'm just going to grab the spot healing brush and we'll just remove that spot of light like that. Finally, last thing I want to do is just work on the teeth, because the teeth, well, they're just a bit too good, to be honest. They're just too clean. So with our very clean teeth, I'm going to make them a little bit more dirty by making a new layer. New layer like that, blank, nothing in it at all. And then I'm going to change the foreground colour to, well, let's go for a sort of a yellowy orange colour. Okay, so we're going to pick something like that. There we go, that's good. And I'm going to paint just with an ordinary paintbrush, a little bit of yellowy orange just onto the teeth. That. Now, I'm not being particularly accurate here because I really don't need to be. It's okay to have these quite blotchy in colour, particularly when I change the blending mode from normal to soft light. That works pretty well. Now I can actually see anything that I need to go and change. There's a couple of little bits in there, for example. Final thing on the teeth, just the ones at the front here, we're going to add a little splash of blood, a little bit of red. So let's make another new layer. And this time I'm going to select a colour from within the picture itself. So let's go for a sort of a red from there. That looks good. And then we'll paint that in just a little bit along the edges, a few little spots and dots. There we go, like that. And then I'm going to change the blending mode to colour burn. And that's just going to give me the look that I want on the teeth. In fact, I can actually drop the opacity down a little bit on that too, I think. There you go. That looks good. So there we are. There is my final picture completed. So the question you're asking yourself, of course, is, well, did they make the world record? No, they didn't, unfortunately, but maybe next year they will. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.
Adorama TV is brought to you by Adorama, your best source for the equipment and knowledge you need. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. Place your order by 7 p.m. and it ships the same day. Plus, the next time you're in New York City, be sure to visit our store, located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. Check out the Adorama Rental Company for professional cameras, lighting, computers, and more. We'll help you make the best selection to match your needs while giving you the knowledge to achieve the best outcome from your rental. Adorama is your complete solution for equipment, printing, training, and more. Adorama, more than a camera store.